All right, welcome back. Let's dive right into today's explainer. We are taking a really close look at a classic feel-good underdog story that comes from the popular Hindi tale Gareeb Kajumbo Pizza. We're going to follow a woman named Kamla, her husband Suresh, and their little girl Rani, who live in the village of Sonpur. And honestly, this isn't just a story about some delicious food. It's this incredibly fascinating masterclass in resilience, spotting a gap in the market, and just pulling yourself up by your bootstraps when the chips are down.
So, the big question we're really digging into today is this. Can a simple, borrowed pizza card genuinely change the entire destiny of a struggling family? Now, I know, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, but as we unpack this story step by step, you'll see exactly how totally ordinary circumstances, mixed with a little bit of street smarts and a whole lot of elbow grease, can create something completely life-changing.
All right, let's set the stage with Chapter 1, Poverty and a Mean Sister.
To really appreciate the payoff, we have to look at where Kamala started. And man, it was rough. They were barely, and I mean barely, scraping by. The daily panic of how are we going to eat today was a very real thing for them, especially with little Rani at home. Kamala was working her fingers to the bone every single day at her younger sister Sona's house. Sona was constantly making Kamala learn and cook all these fancy new dishes, including pizza. And her reward for all that back-breaking work? Just some meager, cold leftovers to take home. It's an incredibly toxic, unfair dynamic, but Kamala just swallowed her pride to make sure her daughter had something to eat. But then, things go from bad to worse. I mean, a total gut punch. Suresh comes home early one day and drops a bombshell. His boss, the Seth, just randomly shut the shop down. So now, Suresh is out of work, and the family has literally zero income. Overnight, the anxiety goes through the roof. Surviving on Sona's table scraps? It's no longer just demeaning, it's completely unsustainable. So Kamala does what any desperate parent would do. She takes a risk. She goes to her entitled sister and practically begs for just a tiny, actual wage so her family doesn't starve. And Sona's reaction? Instead of, basic human empathy, she totally blows up. She yells, "No need to come from tomorrow." She basically fires Kamala on the spot, tells her the table scraps were generous enough, and literally slams the door right in her face. Which brings us to Chapter 2, the jumbo pizza idea. You know what they say, necessity is the mother of invention. Kamala is walking home feeling absolutely crushed, crying over how she's going to feed Rani when she starts really looking at the village market. She's watching all these vendors making a living, and it hits her like a ton of bricks. She spots a massive gap in the market. Everyone is selling samosas and jalebis. The availability is super high, but the novelty? Basically zero. People are used to it. But pizza? Nobody in the village is selling pizza. Availability is zero, which means the novelty factor is absolutely off the charts. And the best part? She already knows exactly how to make it from slaving away at Sona's house. It's a gold mine just sitting there.
Let's move right along to Chapter 3, Setting Up the Cart.
Okay, so having a light bulb moment is great, but how do you execute a business plan when your bank account is at absolute zero? Well, you hustle. Kamal and Suresh don't have a single penny, so they lean on their reputation. First, they go to Guptaji, a local shopkeeper. Because they're known as good, honest folks, he actually gives them flour and veggies on credit. That's huge. Second, Suresh tracks down a dusty, abandoned cart from his friend's mother, Kaki. And third, they roll up their sleeves and build a traditional oven, a pati, right on top of the cart. The teamwork here is just absolutely crucial. It's like a well-oiled machine. Kamala has the dough rising perfectly and the veggies freshly chopped. Suresh has the old cart scrubbed, sparkling clean. And even little Ronnie's jumping in, eagerly organizing all the plates. They know they only get one shot at a first impression, and they are putting their whole heart and soul into making this setup look top-notch. And that hard work takes us to Chapter 4, A Taste of Success. So they roll up to the village chopal, the main square. This is make or break time. They park in a corner, and Kamala is, understandably, terrified. People are staring, but nobody is stepping up. Suresh gives her a nudge, realizing they need to make some noise. So Kamala takes this huge, deep breath and just yells, "Gareeb Ka Jumbo Pizza, a taste that will make your heart happy. The poor man's jumbo pizza." Wow, it is such a raw, honest, and insanely catchy hook, and it instantly makes the villagers turn their heads. Now picture this, the smell of baking pizza is wafting across the square. Finally, this one hesitant guy steps out of the crowd and buys the very first slice. The tension is palpable,
Everyone is watching him. He takes a bite, his eyes go wide, and he just shouts, "Wow, this is incredibly delicious." That one single moment of public validation, a total game changer. Suddenly, the whole village is buzzing and wants a piece of the action.
And from there, the whole thing just explodes. By the afternoon, there is a massive crowd swarming the chalpal. Suresh is working the line, Kamla is baking as fast as humanly possible, and by the evening, they are completely sold out. They literally ran out of ingredients. But the absolute best part of this whole day? By nightfall, they march straight over to Guptaji and pay off their debt in full. Honest business right from day one.
Of course, it wouldn't be a good story without a little drama. Enter Chapter 5, The Jealous Sister Strikes. Word spreads like wildfire in a small village, right? Somebody mentions Kamla's booming new business to Sona, and Sona is furious. Her toxic entitlement kicks right into overdrive. She actually thinks, hey, I told her to make pizza once, so this is basically my success. Crazy, I know. So what does she do? She rolls up bright and early the very next day with her own rival pizza cart, planting it right in the square to sabotage her own sister and steal her customers.
It's the ultimate showdown, and it perfectly highlights the difference between these two. On the left, we've got Kamla, honest, dedicated, pouring love into a genuinely delicious product. On the right, Sona, fueled entirely by jealousy and ego. Sona is loudly mocking Kamla in front of everyone, acting all superior. But here's the kicker. Sona's pizza tastes absolutely awful because she doesn't actually have any of the skill or the passion that Kamla does.
And that sets the stage for our climax, Chapter 6, Hard Work Pays Off. The tension in the square is wild. Sona is aggressively yanking customers over, talking a big game and taking their money up front. But you can't fool the market. The villagers take one bite of Sona's pizza and literally spit it out. It's that bad. They instantly demand their money back, but Sona, being Sona, stubbornly refuses. Well, that completely backfires. The village women are so outraged that they practically chase Sona out of the square. After all that chaos, the customers loyally flock right back to Kamla's cart, proving she is the real deal. We end on this incredibly touching, grounding note. After another massive, sold-out day, the family heads home. They light a simple lamp and just take a moment to thank God for their breakthrough. The days of extreme poverty, of constantly stressing over little Ronnie's next meal, they're officially over. It is such a powerful reminder that if you keep your eyes open, work hard, and treat people right, you can absolutely beat out entitlement.
So, what does this all mean for us? Whether it's about letting your quality speak louder than your haters, or just keeping your eyes peeled for that perfect untapped gap in your local market, Kamla's story is super relevant. It really makes you wonder what hidden opportunities are just sitting in plain sight in your own neighborhood, waiting for someone to take action. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And hey, let me know what dish or incredible story you'd like us to serve up next time. Keep learning, keep hustling, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.